It's, oh, okay. So we're recording. If you don't want to be seen on the video, please feel free to turn off your camera. It's 6:34, so I officially call the meeting to order. I'd like to thank you all for being here tonight. We have first up on the agenda, we have an update from our district superintendent, Dr. Mike. So, Dr. Mike, I'll turn it over to you.
Sure. Thanks so much, Rachel. Hi, everyone. Hope you guys are all doing okay. Pleasure to be here on the call with you guys tonight. Just going to go over a few things that are kind of up and coming in the district, a few other reminders, and some things to just kind of be mindful of as as parents in general, but certainly for you guys as parent leaders to make sure that other parents are aware. So I'll be doing those few things with you guys tonight. First and foremost, it's the first time that I've seen you since the holiday break, so I'm hoping all of you guys were able to enjoy your families, take some of that well-deserved time to enjoy one another. It's hard to believe that we're already towards the end of January already, but I want to make sure that I at least extend those happy holidays and happy New Year to all of you guys. Just a few updates and reminders. Just know that kindergarten application window has closed. The offer window does come out in the late March, but just so that everyone is aware, that has come and gone. The window for 3K and pre-K was open January 10th. That window closes March 1st. And then release of offerings is May 14th and May 16th for pre-K and 3K. G&T upper grade admissions begins Monday, April 15th. Friday, May 3rd, the G&T application window closes, and then offers on June 12th. Really excited that we did have an opportunity to open up another U of T Teacher Center. This one was opened at 379 in College Point. It's a great opportunity for staff in that community to have access to a variety of resources that are supported by the U of T. John, the one that you see there cutting the ribbon, is their U of T Teacher Center coach, and he offers professional learning and supports for staff across the building. We do have 6 teacher centers in district, and we have another one opening in February at 193. So we're happy to work in partnership with the U of T in this way to support outcomes for our kids. Project Soapbox, as you guys may or may not know, we are a Civics for All district. We're really looking to push the opportunity for our kids to use those voices and engage in research to take a stand in given areas. So part of that is what we ask our schools to do in engaging our kids is to engage in what they call Soapbox, where kids have an opportunity to not only do that research, but engage their classes, and then in a larger sense, their larger community in speeches, where they have an opportunity then to move forward and participate in citywide, and at some point we'll be doing a district-wide competition in regards to this. And our kids have always done quite well in Project Soapbox, and I'm looking forward to seeing them do quite well again this year. But be on the lookout for this moving forward, because it is really good stuff. District safety workshops. We've done 2, bicycle and scooter safety workshop, and we have links to the videos. So they were live streamed and we recorded them. We partnered with the DOT to connect with us around both of these areas, traffic safety and bicycle and scooter safety. It's translated into Chinese, Spanish, and English. The bicycle and scooter safety workshop was Chinese, Spanish, and English, and the traffic safety workshop was in English and Chinese. The reason why we had these was based on, if you guys recall the Listening to Learn tours that I had done at the beginning of the year, this was something that did come up a couple of times in each of my stops. So we did connect with the DOT on this because of the concerns that some of our community members have around these areas. We held the one at 185 most recently because of the number of incidents that tend to happen over there. And, in large part, we had these meetings because, um, yes, our kids have to be aware, but it's also about our adults. The adults need to be aware of what they're doing too, as it relates to traffic safety, and that we're mindful of how we're, dropping our kids off, letting them into school and such. So, parents bringing their kids on scooters and bicycles, absent helmets, it does become a dangerous thing. So, needless to say, these are here if you have two things. One, if you'd like to see the video of the session, but two, I encourage you guys as PTA, they are very willing to come to any of our schools to do workshops for our kids, to make sure that they understand the rules of the road and how they should be behaving when they are on their bicycles, or if they do have a scooter, that they know what the deal is. So I do encourage you guys to connect with the DOT, and if you're not sure how to connect, we'll be happy to help you guys with that too. But Omar and Eric were really great at coming to join us at both of those schools. One was at PS 120 and the other one was at 185. So celebrating Martin Luther King Jr. Day, our schools did engage in a variety of activities. Just highlighting one particular shout out to PS 20, who submitted a variety of different images and artwork and such and an essay exhibition to kind of shout out the importance of Dr. Martin Luther King's message for all of us, which I think at this time is really, really important for us all to reflect on. So we do thank them for participating and for all our other schools as well. Special ed parent learning opportunity. We will have 2 tomorrow. I do encourage any folks that do have a child that is of special needs and they're not sure about understanding the classifications, that they hop on these meetings. There's one at 11, one at 6. Without question, having a working knowledge of the special education ins and outs are really super important for our families. All too often, it's interesting. I have my cousin speaking to me recently about his daughter, and the passive state that we can take as parents sometimes, because we just don't know what we can ask for or what we can question. So it's important for any of your families in your community that are asking you about special education supports. We do have both of these events scheduled for tomorrow, so I encourage you guys to reach out. District 25 Debate League. This is coming very soon for our schools. Really excited. Councilmember Palladino has sponsored this debate league for the 2nd year running. Really super excited for our middle schools. It was a great success last year. So this will take place on February 27th. It's our District 25 Winter Classic. Our schools are preparing to get to participate in this debate, and we're really excited. It was a great deal of fun. So I'm hoping I have an opportunity to see you guys, for these events. It's really, really good stuff. And, the kids, are prepared for either having the pro or con side of the debates that are put in front of them. And you get to see them negotiate right in the midst of those conversations, to be prepared with either side of the argument, which is really fun to watch. We will be hosting a district-wide iReady parent workshop. So during the last CEC meeting, it was brought up as a request to make sure that there is some access for families. I know many of our schools already do this, but we're going to host one anyway for you guys, in a larger venue from the district perspective, so that everyone knows what to do with the diagnostic assessment data that comes back from iReady. Sometimes, we're not sure how we can help our kids. The goal of this session will be to make sure that our families have a clear understanding as to how they can use that information that comes back. A district cyberbullying workshop. We're partnering with the 109th Precinct to engage our community in conversations around cyberbullying. And I have to tell you, for you guys as parent leaders, some of the things that I've been seeing kids, even in the elementary school, adding to their Snapchat, which, by the way, kids in 5th grade should not be using Snapchat, in my opinion. It's something that only tends to cause problems. I don't believe they're mature enough yet for that, but I have seen some things that have come out from, from using this particular text feature that are causing problems inside of our schools. So we are offering this as a means of just promoting the importance of using digital tools responsibly, to make sure that our kids are not getting themselves into trouble by typing things on the computer or on their device or what have you. There are so many different outlets right now that they have access to in terms of digital space. That's concerning. So we are going to be offering this as well, just to connect our families with and make sure that they understand what at times their kids are doing. If they're not paying attention to those devices, it can become problematic for them. Just preparing for remote, just wanted to make sure you guys were all aware. In November and December, our schools did connect with our kids and families, sending surveys home, just to make sure that we were ready to go in the event of inclement weather. We're fortunate thus far, I'll knock on wood, and any other place that we need to knock, that we don't have too much of that. But the intent of that, just so everyone knows, is just to be prepared in the event we do have to pivot to remote. So all of our kids were asked to do an 8 iReady Math, and children that are taking the Algebra 1 Regents are taking the MAP growth assessment. And the reason why they're taking the MAP growth assessment instead of iReady is because the Algebra 1 MAP assessment is more aligned to that Regents coursework than is the iReady regular 8th grade assessment. So that window goes from January the 2nd through February 9th. There is one more week after that for any children that are absent for some reason, but the regular testing window is January 2nd through February 9th. Excuse me. Benchmarks, they allow our schools to know what's going on in terms of performance. And for all of our school leadership teams, which you guys do sit on, we ask that every single school is monitoring their goals. Each of our schools in some way, shape, or form is connecting themselves to iReady or Acadience to know whether or not they're meeting standards and meeting expectations. This is something you guys should wind up seeing. Something along these lines is something that should be present within school benchmarking. So for example, in district, we're saying that these are the percentages of children right from the beginning of the year that you'll see 57.88% of children from the baseline assessment data were on or above grade level. Our goal by the end of the year was that a minimum of 63% of our kids would be meeting benchmark, and by middle of the year, around 61%. So the goal for all of our schools is to monitor this, and that's what the MOI should be doing. And you should be asking at your school leadership team meetings whether or not your school is currently on target to meet goals. For you guys as parents, just being aware of how your child performed on the diagnostic is important. Make sure that we're aware of strengths and areas of improvement, and that we're working collaboratively during parent engagement time to connect, especially during the diagnostic window. It just gives you a bunch of information on where your child is and children inside of your school community. Also wanted you guys to be aware that we are in the process of also administering a social emotional learning survey. Some of your parents might ask you about this. It is one that's created from the district. We borrowed it from the Washoe School District. It's out west, and they have aligned their work with CASEL. It's the hub for social emotional learning. So we borrowed that and we added a few questions that are connected to the Mind Up program. If for some reason families do not want this to be administered, they can just let the school know, and the school will not, ask the child to self-assess. It is a self-assessment. It is available for our kids in English, Chinese, Spanish, and Korean. And the family letters that were sent home, or I'm hoping they were sent home already, are also in all of those languages to help our families get an understanding. The questions are very basic. Let me, in fact, open this up a little bit more so that you guys can see.
Click the English link, Dr. Mike.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Louis.
Dr. Mike, I'm sorry, for those that have to leave because they have a meeting at their school, reminder that this meeting is being recorded and you can find it where you logged in. They're downstairs. I mean, if you scroll down, you'll see the recording of the meeting. Thank you. Sorry, Dr. Mike.
No worries. I'll go super fast then. So all of these areas, self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, goal setting, relationship skills, and then mind up. These are basically the questions. The children will get a little Bitmoji next to each one of these areas for them to identify. This is just a regular hard copy for you guys as parents to see. Kids will get it in a Google form so that they can answer some of these questions and give us a little perspective on ways that we can support them as learners. And lastly, I just want to, before we finalize anything with the parent feedback survey, last time I met with you guys, I asked if there's anything in particular that you would like to share regarding questions that you believe we should ask in the survey. If you have anything, please feel free, add it in the chat, send it to Esther, include me in an email, however you'd like to share it, but would love to get your perspective on things you believe we should be asking our parents as a district community. Other than that, I appreciate you guys giving me the time, and I hope everyone has a great night. And if anyone has any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Thank you, Dr. Mike. No, I didn't mean for you to rush. We just had 184 that had their PAPTA meeting at 7, so they had to leave.
Okay, no worries.
So if anyone has any questions for Dr. Mike, now's your chance to ask any questions. Okay, well, thank you very much for the update, and we look forward to seeing you next month.
My pleasure. And Rachel, if it's okay with you, by next month I should have all of the district data to do a state of the district, if that's okay with you.
Perfect. We'll look forward to that.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you so much.
You got it.
Now, next on the agenda for tonight, we have representatives from the new vendor of New York Appleseed Inc. They are the vendor for PTAlink.org, which we discussed a little bit last month in our President's Council meeting. And so they're here to give a little bit more detail and dig in deeper into the website. So I'd like to turn the floor over to Naya Berg and also the other representative. I just see New York Appleseed, so I don't remember the name. I apologize.
Antonia Martinelli?
Yes.
Welcome, ladies. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you so much.
And let's see. Would you want me to share my screen, Antonia?
Sure.
Okay. Let me do that. Hi, everybody. Thanks for having us. As I just announced, my name is Naya Berg. I'm the executive director at New York Appleseed, and I'm going to pull up our slides to get into our introduction. Share screen.
And I'm the new PTA Link coordinator, Antonia Martinelli.
Nice meeting you both.
Wonderful.
So Rachel used to come to our meetings years and years. So that's why our President's Council always wants to make sure to invite you guys to come. So thank you for being here.
Yeah, thank you for having us. We sort of put together a very general presentation for you on the President's Councils and some PTA information. And I hope it supports what everybody's needs are out there.
Okay, technology is working. Yep, it is. All right, guys. Appreciate y'all's patience while I got all of this set up. It's one of those things where you have about 10, 20 different tabs open and you're never quite sure which one is going here. Okay. Hi, everybody. As we said, thank you so much for having us. My name is Nia Berg. I'm the executive director at New York Appleseed. You're probably wondering, okay, great. What does that have to do with PAs and PTAs? I'm going to get into that really briefly. So in 2023, in the spring, we acquired PTA Link, which, as Esther just noted, was originally co-founded and created by the wonderful, fantastic Rachel Fine. She was looking for a place and a space where essentially her baby, her creation would be welcomed and supported and would be able to grow. And so we worked throughout the spring and formally acquired PTA Link as the technical assistance website and platform that it is, under the umbrella of New York Appleseed. And New York Appleseed, we are a nonprofit organization that advocates for integrated schools and communities in New York City and state. So we found that PTA Link had a perfect home for us in understanding that to create inclusive, truly inclusive and integrated schools that are supportive of all of its students. PAs and PTAs are uniquely able to and also have the position to address hyper-local needs. But sometimes some of those resources aren't always available, or you have to dig through about 10 different tabs and websites, and PTA Link makes it a little bit clearer. And so that's why it found a home with us, to really dive into that piece of having resource equity, the knowledge that is needed to really be effective and efficient, and being a PA, PTA that supports the students in your schools. With that sort of brief explanation, I'm going to pass it over to who we just recently hired to help with supporting just PTA Link and its work. And I will pass it over to our program coordinator, Antonia.
Yeah, hi everybody again. So I've spent the last decade on a number of parent bodies, PTA, SLT, CEC. And so I know that there is need out there for more information and guidance, especially as these parent bodies turn over regularly. So I just want to really highlight for you the amazing resource that is PTA Link. I know a lot of PTA parents do their work late at night, when you don't have access to your fabulous FLC, Esther Maluto, and you may not have access to your parent coordinators and principals. So PTA Link is there as a resource for you to help answer those late night PTA questions. And it was really just founded to sort of support the gap between, you know, PTAs that are really established and those that are trying to find their way, and to sort of support the gap between newer members and more experienced members. So please use it. So I know that you're a body of very experienced PTA presidents, but we never know who's in the room. So we want to give some really basic 101. What is a president's council? You know what a president's council is. It's made up of the presidents or their designees from each PA or PTA within a district. And who are the mandatory officers? It's the president and the recording secretary. Those are the only mandatory officers of a president's council, and they serve a 1-year term. And a treasurer is only necessary if the president's council intends to open a bank account. And president's councils are really designed to support PAs and PTAs. And you might assist in the establishment of a new PA or PTA, or the reestablishment of a defunct PA or PTA. And you may give guidance to PTAs in technical areas. And you also, as members of the community, identify and promote district-wide interests. And so I'm just wondering, what are some ways Does anybody have any examples of ways that your President's Council has supported a local PA or PTA? And you can raise your hand or put it in the chat. So I see in the chat that you have supported elections. Annie, do you want to elaborate on that?
They're always there to support us during like the election process and how to organize different groups to help with getting representatives to put their names in nominations and just running the elections.
That's great. Does anybody else want to chime in? I'm going to put a link in the chat to a document from the CPAC from Anthony Settles. It's a document on just roles and responsibilities for the President's Council. It's just some additional information if it's helpful. And something else PTAs should think about is how to empower their executive boards. And this is both for PTAs and for President's Councils. You all are a body composed of people with diverse knowledge and experiences and expertise, and sometimes mobilizing all of those assets effectively can be challenging. And so something PTA Link also does is we actually publish the experiences of PTA members. And this is an example of an article that somebody at PS 133 wrote about how they used a book that they read to empower their executive board. It's sort of based on the 7 Habits of Highly Successful People by Stephen R. Covey. And I'll put a link in the chat to the article. And if you ever want to contribute to PTA Link, if you have an idea, we would love to talk to you about it and publish it. And you can reach out to us through ptalink.org. Some of the steps, oh, okay. Sorry. Oh, I'll give, okay. So some of the steps that this parent identified to help create an effective PTA were to be proactive, begin with the end in mind, put first things first, think win-win, seek first to understand and then to be understood, synergize, and then always care about yourself. Take time to nurture yourself, self-care. So thank you. And always think about your relationships. Your relationships are very important. Your relationship with your superintendent and your DLT, the president of the President's Council, is a mandatory member of the DLT. The president of the President's Council is a mandatory member of the CPAC. And your CEC should be having quarterly joint meetings with the President's Council. And make sure, of course, you know your FLC, Esther Maludo, who is here. So obviously everybody knows her. So looking ahead a little bit, I want to talk about some potential regulation changes, PTA elections, and the transfer of records. So there is some new potential guidance that the DOE is seeking feedback on. As you know, you are only allowed to have one fundraiser per month with non-approved food items such as bake sales, outside the cafeteria from the time school begins until 6 p.m. It's only allowed once per month. But they are exploring a waiver to Chancellor's Reg A812 that may allow more of these types of bake sales per month. So there is a link there, face@schools.nyc.gov, and you can submit feedback by January 25th. So I will turn it back over to Naya to talk about elections.
Awesome. And good to hear that y'all have been really helpful with elections. We wanted to quickly just give some examples. There's so much on the website and there's so much that PTAs and PAs do. So when we get a large of how would you like to present, we want to think about some of the hot topics. And one of the things that is coming up that I'm sure is on folks' horizon, even though we still have some time until June, thank goodness, would be that elections are coming up, right? So we're going to just do a brief overview, not go through everything because we don't have time. Y'all do not have time and I am hungry, as I'm sure many of you are. But, you know, understanding that a few things about elections that, again, the only qualification to run for an executive board officer for a PA-PTA position is being a parent of a child in a school. That they are 1-year terms, July 1st to June 30th. That there's also a lot of guidance on if there are PAs and PTAs that you know of that struggle with having established mandatory officers, or might not think that they'd be able to have them all elected by the last day of school. There are also guidance for expedited elections as well in October. So really quickly, elections coming up, the school principal should be notified by April 1st that folks should be notified overall, general membership, at least 10 days in advance. And election notifications must include all relevant info. Election notifications, there is a template online for the DOE. There is also, they have that template translated already into a couple languages. But we're giving this out today too, because one of the best practices that's strongly suggested is having the nominating committee being formed in February, which is just next month, which is nuts. I'm still writing 2023, but February is right around the corner. And why form a nominating committee? It's a simple idea of promoting fairness in elections, having an established independent committee. You know, the nominating committee should be about 3 to 5 volunteers that are not members of the exec board. And as I also just mentioned about that election notice, that it should be made available in languages spoken by parents at the school. And you can ask for requests for assistance in translation by the principal. I just had you guys heard your superintendent going over some of the many languages that you had issued for one of the flyers. So again, asking for help in having those translations available. Also something that might be relatively new, depending on the time suck and void that was the pandemic, right? You know, the virtual piece of this, that there are hybrid meetings. If you're doing elections though, you cannot do an election in a hybrid meeting, and it's either you're doing it virtually completely or in person. If you need assistance with DOE guidance on virtual elections, we have the QR code there. Antonia will drop a link. There is a DOE virtual guidance booklet. It's a little hard to find and dig up, but we do have it right on our website page in elections, as well as a general DOE guidance on elections if you're going to have them in person. They have all those details really lined out, relatively clear. If you're going to do virtual elections, the whole details of having to go through, are you going to do Zoom or Google or Teams, that is outlined in one of those booklets. Yeah, we'll get back to the bake sales in just a second too. I see your notes. And the other pieces too, if you're going to decide to go virtual, one of the tips, best practice is really to hold a mock election, walk yourself through it before getting to the day of. It can be a little complex working with Zoom. You know, Zoom is a virtual meeting platform. It's not necessarily a voting platform. So having to figure out all the ins and outs, it might be nice to have those mock pieces as much as it is as if you're using a new platform or new software. These are just a couple of dates to know if you fall into the category at one point of expedited elections, right? Certain deadlines. If the PTA fails to conduct an annual election before the last day of the school, there are still some other dates on expedited elections. Really quickly, one other thing that goes along with elections is transfer of records. So I'm going to pass that over to Antonia to sort of finish us off and wrap us up on this section.
Sure. So transfer of records. Why transfer records? Because this is your legacy. You spent all year building this really great parent body that raised all of these funds, that supported all these activities, and you want those activities to live on for the children after you leave office. And so your records must be transferred at a meeting on school premises that includes the incoming and outgoing officers and the principal. All PA and PTA records must be maintained for 6 years. The secretary will transfer her or his records to the new secretary, and the treasurer will transfer their records to the new treasurer. And we can move to the next slide. And here are a list of records, your bylaws, your election certificate form, your EIN number, your bank account numbers, all your bank statements, all financial records, all meeting notices, agendas, minutes, attendance sheets from all general membership and executive board members. I assume that your PTAs either are using Google Docs or have actual physical binders. It's also a good idea to have physical binders. All your email addresses, your passwords, your logins for all your accounts, any keys or combinations for the PTA storage, and your contact list. Something else that I thought was a nice idea was for the president of the PTA to write the incoming new president a letter. That's just sort of a nice idea. So you can skip to the next one. So here's our information. You can email us at info@ptalink.org, or you can email me directly, amartinelli@nyappleseed.org. There is our website, ptalink.org. And here is also a phone number for pro bono assistance with the New York Lawyers for Public Interest if your PTA needs some advanced assistance. And I guess we'll just we'll take some questions. I see there's a question about explaining the rules for bake sales. We can go back to that slide maybe, Naya, or you?
Yeah, and I'm also, is there a specific, are you talking about like the current rules, or are you talking about?
I'm referring to the current rules. I that there were even rules. I'm wondering, is the rule that the PTA cannot have more than one bake sale in the outside of the cafeteria
During the school day until 6 p.m. And you can only so you have your bake sale. There's a list of unapproved items, and I've been actually in contact with School Foods to try and obtain what
Okay.
those unapproved items are, but basically it's bake sale items. And so you can only have one of those per month outside of the cafeteria. You cannot have it inside of the cafeteria during the school hours. And otherwise, you can have more bake sales after 6 p.m. as long as you get the appropriate permit. And so Naya has put up on the screen the spot on PTA Link
Okay.
where it talks about bake sales. So they initially came up with these rules to combat child obesity. They didn't want they want kids to eat their lunch. They don't want kids to eat, cupcakes. But the DOE is considering a waiver so that schools can have more of these. It has not been officially decided yet, and they're just soliciting feedback.
Okay,
Um,
thank you so much.
And if you want to talk to us more about this, please, reach out to us.
I guess
and,
I guess my only other question would be, I'm assuming it's okay for the PTA to have a bake sale, and then the following week for another school organization to have a bake sale.
Oh, so are you in a co-located building?
No,
Is that-
for example, my son is on the debate team and they're planning to have some kind of like fundraiser. It's okay for them to do it because they're not part of the PTA. And
Yeah.
we could do another one the same month. Is that correct?
That's what it sounds like to me, but I
Yes.
would ask your
Yes.
FLC.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, just check. I just wanted to make sure that we're not in violation of anything. Okay. All right. I mean, got it. Okay. Thank you so much.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
So we're actually having a bake sale on the 31st, and we're linking up with the National Junior League Society, so they can earn money for their t-shirts that they want to have the emblem on. Is that allowed?
So
I'm gonna point you at the FLC.
Okay. Yeah, because we figured the last bake sale we had, we earned a little over 1,300, so I figured they only needed $400. So to link up with them and for them to run the bake sale with the kids, they can earn their money. So I just want to make sure we're not in any violation with our situation.
So do you guys want me to speak on that, or you guys want
Yes,
to?
please, Esther.
So anything that you do at the school level, you're gonna have to you're the PTA, you're autonomous. You guys could do, but you have to follow. There's a principal. So you would want to go ahead and run this through the principal and say, we are successful. We're making so much money. We would like to help X, Y, and Z. So you will let the principal know at all times what the PTA is up to. And in terms of you as a PTA wanting to help, you have to be really careful. Because if you're helping one team, one organization, are you going to have enough days in your calendar to be able to help everybody else that might need $400 or $500? So you guys got to be careful with that, because you have to be able to help everybody equally in the school.
Yeah, they're actually the group of 20 kids. They're bringing snacks too, so they're participating in all aspects of this fundraiser, and that's the only organization that we have besides like No Place for Hate or Small Squad. And Small Squad is for the teachers. So, that's the only thing that we have right now. And
Yeah, you just have to make sure you're lucky you only have
that'd be
that.
okay with Papa.
That have a lot of organizations, and you just have to be equal as a PTA. If you're giving to one, that you're able to give to all.
Yeah, of course, yes. Awesome. And another question, how do we fund our cash box? So we're starting a bake sale with $0. What's the correct way to fund our cash box?
Rachel, you
That's
want
a
to share
really
how
good
your school does it?
Sure. The way we do it is one of the parents, generally from the board, or if it's for our Scholastic Book Fair, the coordinator, will get money out of pocket with a record of how much, how many tens, how many ones, etc. And then that becomes part of the record for the bake sale. And then at the end of the day, they get their money back and sign off on it. That's how we handle funding the change needed for the bake sale.
Perfect, great. That's exactly what we've been doing. We just want to make sure that that was the correct way.
May I ask one more question since I have you here, Esther? Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
Thanks. I'm wondering, we received a notice.
Did a question for them too, so if not, so we could respectfully, thank them and.
I think it would be for them as well.
Okay.
For the
go ahead.
ladies as well, yeah. So my question is, we received a letter from Discovery Day Camp asking to advertise on our newsletter. So we don't have a newsletter, but we do have an Instagram account that we use. Is advertising on a Facebook page or an Instagram account of a PAPTA allowed? In other words, let's suppose it's not the Discovery Day Camp. Let's suppose it's a local business that would like to, like the coffee shop across the street would like to, advertise, would like us to post something one time a month of a, discount they're having in return for a donation. Is that allowed?
So I don't know, help me ladies, Rachel, in the
Because
past.
when you go in the national PTA, when you go into other PTA pages, like from, around the country, or other districts in New York State, they do have, on their websites, on the PTA, website or Facebook page, they do have like a sponsor page where local businesses have the option of donating $500, $300, $100, let's say, and they'll either post they'll post something about the business one time in the year or 3 times in the year or 4 times in the year, depending on the donation that particular business makes.
Got it. So District 25 President's Council practice has been that you have to be really careful with vendors. Because again, if you're posting for the coffee shop across the street, that's going to give you $200. What about the mom that sells Tupperware? What about the mom that sells Jafra? What about the dad that sells, I don't know, balloons? So again, I would use your social media to advertise stuff in your school and not get, the donation's great, but they should be able to donate to you guys without wanting that advertising, because I mean, you could do other things to advertisement, like,
We can thank them for their donation.
Yeah. Oh, so that way, because, you don't want, it's happened in the past when I first started where one school used a mom that was selling a certain product, but then all the other moms that wanted also that. So then how does the school do it? So you don't want to show favorites. And I know that's how vendors do it, to try to, donate, to try to advertise, but you have to use your, I don't know if any school wants to suggest how they do it at their school or their experience, but that has been the practice here at President's Council in District 25, to be very careful not to go ahead and advertise for a single vendor.
Okay.
I know at 499 we received the same letter, and we don't have a newsletter either. My only thought was, if there was a need, like if the parents had a need, we could have them come as a vendor and speak at our PTA meeting to share their services. But again, like Esther said, if you do that, then you'd have to open up that opportunity to others that approach you and want to have access to your membership. But if it's a legitimate need that parents have asked for, summer services, summer camps, then in that case, it might be something that would benefit your membership.
I would just, go ahead, Naya.
I was just gonna say the one other thing that I will add overall, just in general, when you reference national PTAs and state PTAs, be very careful with that, because they are very, very different. PTAs,
Yes.
are very much sort of their own entity in place, and so they're overseen by A660, the lovely holy grail that we all have. But it makes it very different than anything that PTAs and PAs in the state are allowed to do. And very different sort of laws and regulations that they abide by.
Okay, because
Yeah, and
we had a pie sale for Thanksgiving. With a local business donated the pies. And we ended up thanking that business on our Instagram page. But that wasn't an advertisement. We just sort of did the courtesy to thank them, let the parents know that this is the business that donated the pies. And, we're thankful that they did because we were able to raise a lot of money because of it. Okay.
I would say when in doubt, have your membership vote.
Got it.
If you
Okay.
have any doubt, and if you want, I can check the regs for you and reach back. You can reach out to me and I'll check the regs more closely, but when in doubt, have your membership vote on it. That way you
Okay.
always have that backing you up.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, ladies, I think that's it.
Awesome.
Thank you so much. It's been a
Thank
real
you, ladies,
pleasure
for
meeting
being
you all.
here.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. We appreciate it.
And for all
Good
of you
night,
that are
everyone.
here that I have not went into the PAPTA link website, please do so. Check it out. It's so informative and it has a lot of information. So you have one more place to go ahead and help you. You have the NYC Schools website, and you also have the PAPTA link that has a lot of information. Thank you, ladies, for being here. We appreciate your time.
Thanks.
Good night. Thank you.
Thank
Night.
you. Good night.
Can you share your PowerPoint?
Yes, we'll email
Okay.
you with the PowerPoint.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Because they're asking me for it.
I'll get it to you.
All right, thank you.
There.
Bye.
Okay, at this time, we still have quorum. We have to do elections. So we do have quorum. So thank you for being here. As you know, President's Council is in need of the recording secretary. And so Rachel,
Yes.
you want to do it
Take
or
it
I
away.
do it?
Can you do it?
Yeah, sure. At this
'Cause I'm
time,
slipping a lot.
okay, at this time, President's Council in District 25 is in need of recording secretary. The duties of the recording secretary is to meet with the treasurer and the president, and to go ahead and plan what's going to be on the agenda for the following meeting, in conjunction with myself. That person will then go ahead and take notes of the meeting, but now it's easier because the meeting is being recorded, so you would just have to play back the recording and go ahead and take your minutes so that you could share the meetings at the following meeting. So like today, if you were the secretary, then you would go ahead and take the recording secretary, you would take the minutes and we would share them at the next meeting. So at this time, I would like to open the floor for nominees. Don't be shy to go ahead and step up and run for recording secretary for President's Council District 25. And we have, just for a record, we have 10 schools present. That means you have quorum. Christine, did I see your hand raised? Would you like to run for recording secretary?
Ow! Where's the driver's go? Oh my God! I joined.
Somebody has
Hey,
a,
sorry. I'm barely even making it in time just to make dinner and laundry. 'Cause we just moved into a house.
congratulations
Sorry.
on.
Ugh, I don't even know if it's a congratulations is in hand, honestly. It's a lot of work. It's just me, I don't have a backup. Nobody else to do it if I'm not doing it.
Got it.
So,
Annie,
I mean,
Angela.
is there-
I'm just calling names. Don't take it personal. If you guys don't want to run, it's okay. We just really need to meet quorum. I mean, that we have all our members.
Well, Mirna nominated Annie in the chat, but Annie, do you accept the nomination? She would
I'm
love to.
saying
but
she's just
it's full.
amazing, so why not?
She does not accept the nomination.
Come on,
Oh.
Annie.
The minutes don't have to be extensive. It's just kind of a short blurb about, you know, what each aspect of the meeting was that was covered. I'm trying to see if I can pull up a recent one to just kind of give you an idea.
Sorry, she can't. She's working during this time. I guess she's, if I understand correctly, she's working during the time of the meeting. You get that right?
That's why the recordings are so helpful, because you don't have to be able to take notes during the meeting. But no, I'm just saying for others in general. Okay, so I found, let me see if I can share my screen to just give you guys an idea of what the minutes have consisted of in the past, so you don't feel that it's overwhelming.
And anybody could run.
Okay, so you guys can see my screen. So this is basically the minutes that were from our November meeting. Very short, sweet, to the point. It wasn't a lot of detail. As far as you don't have to go into what so-and-so said and so-and-so's response. You know, you would just kind of touch on the basics. So it's not an extensive, it's not a narration of the meeting itself. It's more of an overview of what was discussed during the meeting. So hopefully this helps you to see that it's not intimidating in any way. We just need someone that's willing to be able to, you know, handle that part of the record keeping from our minutes for our meetings.
Somebody's saying that they nominate, I can't see, Myrna from 219.
Annie just did that because I nominated her.
Well, come on, Myrna, think about it. I will
I'll
walk
think
you,
about it.
Myrna, and I would work with you like I work with all the board.
Is there a co-position? Can it
This
be a
position-
co?
This position can be co. It's
Annie, come on. Annie, come on. Do a team. I'll do it if you do it, Annie.
Do you do all three positions on your current board? 'Cause that's
I
my
do a
position
couple
right now.
positions on my current board, so yeah, I make it work.
That's my current position now.
Annie, we can do.
Well, anybody? Myrna, was that a yes or a no?
Can I think of that? Working on a new treasurer right now, so it's you know. By next month, I will have a definite answer. If that makes sense.
Okay, no, we understand. We don't want to put any pressure on anybody. We know that you're already doing enough at the school. But if this is your time, if you want to learn and come up to President's Council, you do learn a lot for the questions that come in from other schools. You're part of those emails that go out to Rachel and you get to find out the answer or whatever issues they're having at the school. It's also very informative and you do learn a lot to help you not only at your school, but give you the knowledge to help all the other schools when they come and help. I mean, they come and ask for questions and they're simple questions to elaborate depending on each school. But election season is coming. So that's when we get the bulk of more questions. Because a lot of people want to know about the nominating committee, who can do it, who cannot, who can run. So that's when the board and myself, we make ourselves available to everybody to help them during this the election season. But I'm going twice. If anybody else would like to step up to run for recording secretary, please don't be shy. We would really appreciate it. And both Rachel and myself and Crystal will go ahead and work with you.
Esther, I have a question. Do you have to be a president in order to join the recording secretary?
No, you have to be, you could be the president of the school, or you could be the designee from your school.
Okay.
So say your president can't make these meetings, so they go ahead and designate you as the person to come to these meetings, then you could go ahead and run.
Gotcha. So I can ask if I designated my, let's say
So Myrna,
secretary
don't
or,
I have you, what, no, I have you as president. Aren't you the president over there?
I am.
Yeah, so then you're good to go.
Kind of a backup.
Yeah. So, yeah, so a designee would be like totally that you can't attend, that you can't be here. Then you would designate Esther to be the person representing 219. I mean, you're welcome to come to the meetings when you can, but the point of a designee is that the president can't make the meetings because they work, they're in school, they can't make these meetings, so they have to find a designee. So at your PAPTA meeting, you announce that and you say, I, Esther, as president of PS 2000, I am slated to attend President's Council. However, I'm going to school, or I have a job, or I can't do it. I need a designee. Then that's where somebody will say, I would like to be the designee for President's Council. So then that's where I, the president, will then assign Annie or Rachel to be the designee for 219. So that means that if there's any voting or anything needs to be done, that designee has a right to vote.
Gotcha.
All right, so nobody's stepping up. I'm gonna call it one more time. If not, we'll go ahead and table it for next month. But I know people are texting me, asking me direct, hold on a second. Okay, so they're telling me again, we have the notes from the prior recording secretary, but you could go ahead. You don't have to put the time. You kind of, there's like different ways of taking notes. The important thing is just to have the highlights. Like today it would be Superintendent Dantona reported and the few bullets that he reported, not in detail everything that he said. We had the Appleseed PAPTA link, the two ladies' names, and a little bit about what they talked about. And that's basically how the minutes would go. I know it seems like a lot, but we will help you through if you go ahead and step up. They're thinking about it.
Okay, well, we can wait while people think. That's okay.
We're waiting. We 7:38. Dr. Mike, would you like to be our recording secretary? Don't be shy for the new people. Don't be shy. We could totally help you out. I see Angela. Angela, you served on the board before.
Yes, I did. But this year is super crazy. I went back to school for nursing,
Oh,
and I'm
wow,
holding.
good for you.
Thank you. I really want to join, but right now I cannot handle because this year we have a lot of activity in our school, PS 163. So I wish I can help Hester.
I appreciate your honesty. Thank you so much, and good congratulations on going back to somebody sharing their screen.
Me, I wanted to show what we have for our minutes for our PTA. Granted, this is a more detailed meeting, but it's not necessarily broken out by minutes. It basically follows the agenda and just gives like a brief snapshot of what was discussed in bulleted format. And of course, our meetings aren't, I mean, we don't have treasurer's reports. We do have the minutes. You know, if we had visitors, they would get a bullet. And then questions, if there were any questions, you know, such as what was discussed, just as a documentation, So it does not have to be a minute by minute, play by play of the meeting. So don't be intimidated by if those minutes I showed, you know, intimidated anyone. I apologize. It doesn't have to be minute by minute. It just has to be an overview of what was discussed.
Thank you, Myrna. I know you're thinking about it. Okay, so at this time, is it okay that we table it for next month, Rachel, or?
Okay, well, I guess, I mean, if we have no one, oh, somebody suggested a with Myrna.
Hold on. Christine. Christine, would like to, wait, am I understanding this? Would you like to run with Myrna as co?
I'm spread
I
thin, but
am
if
spread
Murder, if
thin
you're down
too.
for it, I know, because I've
I mean, two thin breads
two
can make
people,
one
we could
whole.
split it.
You could
Yeah.
figure it out.
You wanna do it? We could split, like, you know, whatever, make it
It's
work.
like a blind date.
Yeah. Totally. Are you down?
Yeah.
I know, I feel the same. But
So
you
is
know,
that a
next
yes?
month is gonna be the same. Yeah, you wanna do it together?
Okay, Christine, what school are you from?
194, honey.
194. How are you? Okay, let's do
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Let's do it.
That's
Okay.
parent work. So
I'm gonna cry.
I have to do it right. I have to do it right. I don't want nobody, so anybody else interested in running for recording secretary, recording secretary or co-recording secretaries, going once, going twice, going 3 times, this position is now closed. Since we only have 2 calls running, I would need somebody to cast a vote for both Myrna Pacheco and Christine Yu for the position of recording secretary for District 25 President's Council. Could somebody please cast a vote for them?
I pass.
Okay, so you have to say I, blah, 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 your name from the school, cast a vote for Myrna and Christine to be recording secretaries for President's Council.
I, Paifi Ham PS 32, pass the vote for Myrna and Christine to be co-recording secretaries.
Perfect. Thank you so much. All those in favor, please raise your hand so I could do the count. Thank you, Angela. There's a little screen where you guys could raise your hand. Okay, I'm getting okays also. Do you guys know where it's at? Okay, they're telling me they don't know where the little hand is at. So if you go to your box, so you go to your name where it says participants. No, sorry. Chat.
No more. They
And
go
then
to the
there's a little thing that says I see the 3 dots and then that's where I say more. Well, how do you do it?
yeah, the 3 dots that say more, and then down below the options, it's raise hand. It's above the emojis.
There you go. Okay, well, I'm getting some yeses. So everybody's in favor. Congratulations, ladies, for stepping up. We appreciate you. And if you stick around at the end of the meeting just for a minute. That's it. I just have
Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. You just made District 25 President's Council be in compliance. So we have all our our mandated
Positions.
positions filled. Thank you so much. At this time, I just have a quick announcement. I attended a city PAC meeting right before this meeting, and the long-awaited email situation. So the emails that all of you have access to now by the end of this year will dwindle down. They're hoping to finish that by the end of the school year, which would be June or July. All parent leaders will get their own personal email that would have access to Zoom and different options. This is just they're sending the one pager with what you're gonna have access to as a one person. Your school will go ahead and give the name of who is in SLT, who is in PAC, who is in President's PAPTA. Those members that they list there will go ahead and have their own email with the DOE ending so that you could have access to what us employees have. In the event that somebody leaves, we no longer have to chase somebody for the password. Everybody will have, and there will be training so that we would know how to share with each in school, how we could share with one another our documents. You will also have access to Google and all that fun stuff. They're planning to roll this out ASAP, and they're going to have trainings. They're going to have evening training for the parents, and they're going to have trainings for FLCs and FSCs to go ahead and parent coordinators to go ahead and help our parent leaders so they could have this email address. When that parent graduates out or is no longer a parent leader, then the principal will then uncheck, or the designee of the principal will uncheck the name, and then they would go ahead and dissolve that email. And when somebody else comes in, they'll give them a new email. So we'll see how this goes. It's starting to roll out. I will keep you informed. And if I have the information on how to do it, we'll do a little session at the next meeting. That's it. Thank you, Rachel.
Okay, thank you for that update, Esther. Before we close the meeting, does anyone, well, first, I just want to remind you, you might have remembered from last month's meeting, you would want to follow up with your treasurers because the interim budget report is due by January 31st, with information up to and including the bank transactions through January 15th. So you'll want to make sure that that form is completed so that it can be submitted to the principal. And then it would also then subsequently be shared with your membership at your following meeting, most likely in February. I'd like to open up the floor if there's any questions, anything. The form, actually, it's available at ptalink.org, one copy of the form, or you can just Google interim budget report NYC, and you'd be able to also pull it from the DOE's website. You're welcome.
I just want to remind everybody that our next meeting for President's Council will be February 26th at 6:30.
Okay, great. Thank you, Esther. So if no one has any questions, let me just
Rachel,
check.
sorry.
Yes.
Hi, Rachel. I have a question. Because Lunar New Year is coming up, and then we receive a $1,000 donation from a parent's friend, and then the parent's friend is the owner of a pharmacy, and then claiming that we are willing to donate $1,000, but our business sign have to be in the paper attached to the envelope that we send out to the family for the ticketing to the event. So does this consider as type of advertising of the business, or it is fine? I just want to make sure.
So you need to attach a flyer for the business to go to every student in order for them to purchase tickets?
Yeah, that's what I heard from my board my board member, because I'm not the person who received the donation, and one of the parent who he is one of our volunteer for most of the event, and then he approaches to one of our board member and mentioning that, oh, I have a friend, he's the owner of a pharmacy, and then willing to donate $1,000. And then in return, my board member is going to put the business sign on the paper that we're gonna send home to each kid regarding the upcoming event.
Well, that sounds a lot like advertising,
Yeah,
which
so I just want to make
Esther-
sure. Mm-hmm.
Esther was just mentioning that we have to be careful when doing that, because
Yeah.
if somebody else in your membership group also has know someone that has a pharmacy, then you don't be opening yourself up to advertising for other businesses. So I'm not sure. Esther, do you have anything to add to that?
So again, that goes back to the advertisement. They're giving you money, but in turn, you're advertising to them and you're sending it to the whole school. So I would stay away from that, because again, you would have to be able to advertise for all the vendors that donate something to you. And you don't want a PAPTA to be endorsing all these people. You know, we should stay away from that and not really be endorsing anybody, even though the money sounds really good and we might need it. But a lot of times we have to be really creative when we receive money from these people that are willing to donate, and say, like, you know, we could announce it at a PAPTA and have flyers at a PAPTA meeting, but we can pass it out to every single, but you know, it's different to say, oh, you know, McDonald's sponsored our meeting today. They're the ones that brought the coffee. Let's thank them. That's it. Versus sending a flyer to everybody with a logo, you know? I think that's different. We try to stay away from that just to be as, you know, transparent as possible.
Okay, got it. Understood. Thank you very much.
Welcome.
Thank you for the
Esther,
question.
I have a
Angela.
question. Instead of a flyer, can they just thank them on their Zoom meeting, or if they have it in person?
Yeah, that's what I suggest, you know. But receiving the donation, my board member did not let us know. He just kind of mentioned it afterward. She already agreed. So, and I was thinking about it, wait till tonight's meeting, you know, in order to bring it up. Because the more I think, the more I feel uneasy about it, because I heard the parent was requesting, you know, to have a business name on the paper. And I sense that it's type of advertising of a business. So I just wanna.
Did anybody tell me what's wrong with it? Well, what do you see that other person that accepted the donation, what did that person need to do in the PAPTA? Does anybody know?
They didn't communicate with their board what they were doing. So it puts them in a dilemma.
So
Yeah,
as a
I
board
know,
member,
but
you're not yourself. You don't decide. You
Mhm.
have to, it's a great, donating money is great. We all the PAPTAs in our district need money, right? Because it's going to help our kids. So we need all the money that we could get. But again, it's not my decision. So if this is my PAPTA and you guys are all here, I don't just come and say, oh, McDonald's donated $2,000. Yeah, we're all going to get happy, but I made the decision. I don't make the decision. That board member needed to bring it up to your board meeting or to a general meeting and say, listen, I was hit up by whatever, pharmaceutical 3,000, and they want to donate $1,000. In return, they would want to come to a meeting and speak at a meeting, or they would want us to pass out flyers. Let's discuss. So then that's where everybody will discuss and then come to an agreement. And if you already know that we can't really advertise, then together you would, as a group, will come up with a solution on how to go ahead and accept those funds or what to tell the people that are donating,
Right. I
right?
understand. Yeah. I think we are going to talk about it further because I highly suggest, all our board member have to stick with the rule. Just be careful the fund that we received. But thank you very much.
Angela, you've been around for a while, so you know.
No, but this year I'm a co and then there's new board member and then we are working for it.
Yeah. Well, let me know. You have my number. If you need anything, I will walk you through, or Rachel and I could, get online with all your board and just go over it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, sure. Yeah, I'm sure I'm gonna mention your name, Esther.
Go ahead. So
Okay,
Rachel and I,
because you want to know the person in contact to make sure that I'm correct.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's
Okay, thank you.
another thing. A lot of people come to these meetings and then they go back and share with their PAPTA. And then a lot of your members call me to double check. So one of the things that you could do, remember these meetings are being recorded. You could always go to the website where you logged in and the meeting is recorded there. You can go ahead and share, should anybody question you or anything, the meetings are recorded for that purpose. But anybody that has questions or anything, don't hesitate to email me. I usually contact Rachel and then we go ahead and coordinate so we could answer your question or call you back together, and then that's how we've been doing it.
Okay, thank you very much. It's very important.
Anything else before we go, people?
Okay, in that event, it's 7:57 and I formally adjourned the meeting, the January meeting of President's Council. So thank you all for attending. And if you have any other questions, please put in the chat. If Christine and Mirna can stick around till after everyone's left, so Esther can get your information for the certification form. Thank you. Good night, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great night.
Thank you, Dr. Mike.
Bye.
Good night.
Thank you. Good night.
Wait, Christine keeps coming. She coming back? All right, we could stop the recording, right?
Yeah.
That's so weird that it paused during the